Steve, you got one more player prop. And once again, a little Tallahassee bias coming from this Big J journalist / analyst.
Yeah, and you know what? The best part about betting is betting on guys you love, right? And I think that's something that we all have to remember. And that's why, I love that you bet on Genty, right? That's your guy. Have fun with it. So I'm going to keep doing that. And I'm going to stick with my Homer little heart and say that Trey Benson will have over 450.5 rushing yards. That's going off at -115 via Caesars Sportsbook. Now, I think Trey Benson's going to demolish this number. I think he's going to demolish this number. I wouldn't be surprised if Trey Benson goes for an 900 yards this season as the starting running back for the Arizona Cardinals for the majority of the season. I think James Conner is a good player. I think it's time, though. You don't invest an early pick in a running back for him to sit behind an old,
Blake Corum would like a word.
Blake Corum, was he drafted in the same round as Trey Benson?
I might have even been before Benson, actually. But yeah, same round.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think as you watched, one thing you saw out of the Cardinals, though, that you didn't see out of the Rams is that Blake Corum really didn't get opportunity. As the season went on, they wanted nothing to do with him. And they replaced him, essentially, in the draft. They went and got someone else. Trey Benson, there is no one new. That wasn't like a 7th-round pick. Trey Benson started getting more touches and more touches and more touches and more touches and getting more effective and more effective and more effective as the year went on. He stopped being a east-west runner and more of a north-south runner, which we know is important in the NFL. We saw him adjusting, taking that half second in the backfield before he hit the hole to make sure he was hitting the right hole. We saw the steps for Trey Benson to take. Trey Benson, to me, he's always had the upper end speed, but what I think people forget is his ability just to maneuver the line of scrimmage. I used to say to people, and I've comped Trey Benson a lot to Le'Veon Bell as a runner. He's a little more top end speed ability, but he has that patience in the backfield that Le'Veon Bell has, and it's that acceleration that really made both of them what made Le'Veon Bell elite and what I think could make Trey Benson elite. I wouldn't be surprised if he usurps Connor and goes for near 1,000 this season. I bet he breaks this 450 by week 10.
For a guy who had 291 yards last year, only 63 carries, and we saw the likes of Michael Carter and Amari DiMarcardo go for nearly 60 carries combined. I just don't have a lot of faith in Benson. I'm gonna be honest. I just don't. I'm kind of out. Maybe it's like the scorned guy who's kind of been was on the island for many years saying it. Don't trust Cam Akers. Don't trust these Florida State running backs, and then I finally go in on Cam Akers and he gets replaced by Connor Williams by week 2. So a little bit scorned there, but at the same
time, like you've been scorned by Sean McVay,
dude.
Bud.
I mean, but at the same time, it's going to take injury for me. I think for this to happen, and it very well could happen. But James Conner, freshest injury season he's had in a long time last year. So maybe it regresses to the mean. He goes back to playing 13 games and this can hit. But for a guy who couldn't beat out DiMarcardo and those types of Jags in his rookie year, Michael Carter, I'm good on this, Eric.
But okay, go ahead, Eric.
Make your point. I'll listen.
I mean, 60 carries for 300 yards. Guy was averaging 5 yards a carry. I mean,
it's a fine clip. He wasn't bad. It was just the lack of field time for, like you said, a guy they spent 2nd-round pick on. There are a lot of rookies. Bucky Irving was a rookie. He went for dang near 1,000 yards.
Plenty of rookies don't play. We're condemning this guy because James Conner had an elite year a great year last year. He's 31 years old.
I'm just not betting against him. He's 31
years old. And
this guy beat cancer. I ain't betting against. He's from Pittsburgh. I ain't betting against him.
Jonathan Gannon already came out and named Trey Benson the 1A to Connor's 1. So it's already coming.
We're already going to see this guy.
That's great. I have plenty of respect.
I love how much everyone's biases are just completely on display right now. We got the FSU love. We got this guy beat cancer, and he's from Pittsburgh. I
like Trey Benson because this guy almost had his leg amputated and is now a running back in the NFL.
I like.
You also didn't get to go to the college football playoff, so we're gonna support him.
We were 13-0.
I like this wager. I like this wager. largely because James Conner is 30 years old, not 31 years old, but still very old in terms of running back life cycle, and is coming off of back-to-back seasons with up over 200 rush attempts. He played 16 games last year. Just, that type of usage lends itself to injury as you get a little bit older. I don't know. I mean, to be determined is probably the better way to put it, to see if they start working Trey Benson in as a way to relieve some of that workload beforehand, or we have to wait until injury. I would just say that injury is a pretty high likelihood outcome for James Conner, even if it's just a handful of games, right? If you take what Trey Benson did last year and you sprinkle in 3 games where he's the starter in spell of James Conner, now Benson is right at that 450 mark. I don't know if I have the same bullish outlook on him as a prospect, largely, given how little he played as a rookie. We can still pretty much call him a prospect. But I do think that if, or as I'm claiming, when James Conner deals with injury this year, I think Benson is the next man up, and that's going to put 450 in range for him.
This guy's got steel in his bones. He ain't getting injured. Ben in the chat saying Benson went 66, Corum went 83rd. The best opportunity that Benson had last year was pretty much the only time he was injured, even though active. I'll agree with Steve. All right. Well, so some fans on the Trey Benson Island with